This video is going to take a look at a fairly rare Filofax series. I don't see a whole lot of these on the used market. You can occasionally find some new old stock from some long-time Filofax distributors, but they don't tend to appear on the third-party sales sites as frequently, and I don't know that I've seen very many videos of any of these models either. So here we have the Filofax Bloomsbury series. It was out from, I believe, 2004 to 2006. It came in these four colors: black, teal, tomato, orange. There's a very vibrant purple. It's Barney purple, and there's also a hot pink. I think that's all the colors. I believe that these two plus the black and the pink were available in the first year, and then the teal went away, and I think the tomato went away, and all that was available was the black, the orange, the pink, and the purple. So there's some very interesting features in these models. So I'm going to start, I think, with the mini and just go up to the bigger sizes as we go. So this mini here I actually picked up as new old stock at a Filofax retailer in Toronto when I met for a meetup with Filofaxy. And this particular model is a beautiful Napa leather. It's a very squishy, the Napa leather itself is very soft, and there is padding in the cover. It almost feels like quilting to some degree. It has a popper that has this faux strap, so it implies that this is a tuck-in strap, but it's not. It does have a popper. Inside we've got a 5-ring mini set. I've noticed that some of them tend to dry out, and as a result the leather starts to crack, and unfortunately this model is starting to show that. So if you don't kind of stress the leather too much, and I've been moisturizing it more, but it sat in non-temperature controlled conditions for probably 10 years before I bought it. Filofax included a model card that talks about the luxurious soft leather and the unique characteristics and attributes cause slight shading variation. And then I think on the back it says the exact same thing, just in a different direction. So interesting. 2 card slots with the heat sealed edging rather than stitched, and then a full length tuck-in pocket down here. Non-riveted rings. I'm guessing those are 13 millimeters, maybe 15, I'm not sure, I'd have to measure. And then we've got a gusseted, there's an elastic gusset there, pocket. It's a little stiff to get into, not because this is stiff, because there's some stiffener in the back. So this model, unusual for most of the wallet pockets I've run into, there's stiffener in here and there's stiffener in here. They didn't stiffen the spine, so the stiffener ends here and here, whereas this piece is one continuous stiff piece, which is, I think, part of the reason why this leather is cracking is because it's had too much structure to it because of that thing, the extra board in the back. There's a Filofax embossing on the back, the Filofax F on the spine, and the stitching mostly matches. I wouldn't quite call it a contrast stitch, but the orange is a slightly different tone than the orange leather. Very nice model. Oh, and then something you'll see, and I think all of these, is this very jewelry style zipper. And that there is the mini. And it's never been used. I really have no idea what to do with it. I bought it both because it's a Bloomsbury, which is one of my favorite models, and because it's orange, which is my favorite color. This is how I end up with crazy numbers of Filofaxes. This is the pocket size. It too has the faux slip-in strap look with a popper. Has a single pen loop here. It's I don't know why it's called tomato, frankly, or tomato, because it's got a very pinky coral tone to it. I don't think of this as really very orange or very red, which is what I think of when I think of tomatoes. Has the same Filofax embossing on the spine and on the back. Again, just like the orange one, the stitching isn't quite an exact match. It's a very pink tone stitching with a coral thing. This one's a bit used and abused. It's got some scratch marks, etc. I picked it up from a private seller in Italy. Same little tuck-in card. I might have borrowed that from one of the other ones. It's got 3 of the heat sealed pockets. It's got a secretarial pocket just like the Mini does. That's one of the reasons why the Bloomsbury is my favorite model, is they consistently use this pocket. Non-riveted rings, 15 millimeters I believe, and now actually I'm going to compare these two, and I believe these might be a smidge smaller. So here we have that, the pocket. Same zippered gusset pocket here, same jewelry style. One thing that does distinguish it, there is no back pocket, which is a shame. I think I might use this organizer more if it did have the same back pocket as the Chameleon does, but it does not. So this one tends to sit on the shelf. I haven't found a need for pocket in my day-to-day. And it's an all leather pen loop. Again, same squishy Napa leather. There's definitely a padding in here. This one is also stiffened just like the Mini, but the stiffening stops here. I don't feel any stiffening in the spine, so it allows it to curve better. And I don't have the cracking issue that I've been getting at the spine on the Mini. And I think part of it is the stiffener. Here we have my all-time favorite personal size planner. This is the teal, which is a color I personally enjoy, although maybe not perhaps as much as orange. It's in my top 3 favorite colors. It has the same faux slip on here. It has the same very soft, luxurious Napa leather with a little bit of cushioning underneath it. Same embossing and embossing here. The interior is very similar, and it's just an upsized version of the smaller models. But one major difference, there are 2 leather pen loops. This one is a smidge bigger than this one, so I've been able to fit fatter pens in here than this, but both of them hold an average size pen. They don't require super skinny pens. There are 6 heat sealed card slots. Again, the same secretarial flap, which makes me enjoy it. And here is something that distinguishes it from every other organizer that Filofax has ever offered. These are 20 millimeter personal rings. As far as I am aware, the personal Bloomsbury, now this is not a compact, it was listed as a personal, it says so right here in the embossing, had narrower rings. They are not the typical 23 millimeter, and they're not a compact 15 millimeter. They are 20 millimeter, and I find them just perfect. It's just this perfect size for me. I find it much more comfortable to hold in my small hands, and I find that it's not quite so tight like a compact because it's not cut as narrow. You can still fit normal pens in it. It's still that you don't have issues with your dividers hitting your pen loop. It's just a really nice slim size that I wish Filofax would consider trying again. And it's making me hunt these down in other sizes. Same jewelry style zip gusseted pocket. Oh, look, there's something in there. And then, of course, I mentioned the 2 pen loops. The clasp is generously sized, given that it's only 20 millimeter rings. And it's a very soft, squishy leather. It smells fabulous. Not that you can tell that on camera. Like that orange one, I'm starting to get some cracking. I think this was caused by the rings digging in a little bit up here. And I've seen models on eBay where there's quite a bit of cracking in the spine where I think it just didn't get enough moisturization and love. But if I'm in personal, 9 times out of 10 I'm using this particular model. Because I loved this teal one so much, when a black one, unfortunately, Filofax only offered the A5 in black. It did not come in the color selection that the personal and the other models came in. So this black is very similar. It's very smooth, very soft, squishy Napa leather. Same embossing on the spine, Filofax brand, same size on the back. And like the personal, it does have 2 pen loops. One here, which is a bit smaller. One here, which is a teeny bit bigger. The same style of heat-sealed card pockets, 3, 6, 7. And then this bigger full drop-down pocket here, which is common in a lot of Filofax models. Like the Chameleon A5, it differs a bit from its smaller brethren. It has the secretarial flat pocket, and instead of having the zip in the back like the other 3 models did, the zip is here. A little tough to get into, not horrible because this isn't stiffened, but the back is stiffened. And then again, another full length slip pocket here. And in here you get the big notepad pocket. Now, what makes, I think, this model differ quite a bit from the smaller ones is the amount of stiffening. These have a very mild stiffener in them, so that they're still pretty flexible. The A5 is both stiffened behind here. It's a thinner stiffener. There's a stiffener in this back. There's a slight stiffener in this layer here. So overall, this binder is a bit more stiff. Now, honestly, that's kind of desirable in an A5 because if you're trying to use it not at a flat surface, you need some stabilization. But it does make it feel quite a bit different from its smaller ones. Don't think, I'm trying to feel if there's stiffener. There's a light stiffener in the spine, but I feel like there's almost 2 pieces of stiffener, a thinner one that goes all the way across and then a thicker one that stops here. And like the smaller ones, the rings are digging in a little bit to the leather up top and just starting to do so at the bottom. So that's kind of one of the downsides of having a very smooth, soft leather is the hardware is going to dig in a little. Whoever owned this previously wasn't very good about shutting the snap because the snap has left indentations in the leather. And you can kind of see, since this leather is so smooth and soft, that whatever notepad was tucked in here also left indentations, along with the dreaded ring indentations. They don't bother me, but I know a lot of people like those little wing style protectors to prevent that from happening. So here we have the Filofax Bloomsbury series. I think it's a very underrated option. I presume it didn't sell all that well for Filofax since they discontinued it after 2 years. And as they continued to offer it, they cut back on the sizes. I don't think the mini was offered the second year. I think it was just these 3 sizes, and then they cut back on the colors the second year and discontinued some that must not have sold as well. But I very much love this one. This one's nice to have in my collection. Someday I'll figure out something to do with this little itty bitty. I love things that are small and orange and soft squishy leather, so I will probably use this try it out as a wallet at some point. The A5, A5 and I haven't bonded. It's a size that I find too big for carrying, and I don't need a desk planner at this stage in my life. So this one I will probably break up the collection and move 1 or 2 of these on. But in the meantime, I wanted to share what the series looked like altogether, since these are very rare models and don't typically come up on the third-party sales sites all that commonly. Hope this was of help to you while you look to expand or contract your planner collection. Thanks for watching.